All right, what's up guys? Eric here. In this video, we're going to be reacting to a video from young Ripa59, Eric July. I've reacted to one of his videos before. It's been a while since I've done like a full reaction to his content, but we're here in the chat and a few people were like, hey, you should go check out this video that he uploaded a few days ago. He's basically body shaming, or, you know, like they were saying fatphobia, fat shaming or whatever. I haven't watched the whole clip yet, but it's a very short video. It's only 6 minutes long. So we're going to react to the video here. And then I have a few tabs open with some stuff that I think might be relevant to this video. We'll see when we get to the end of it. But you know, I'm a champion of like, your health is your health. You talk to your doctor, your healthcare provider, your if you have a physical trainer or a fitness person you talk to, all of those people are people that you should be speaking to about your health. People on YouTube should not be giving unsolicited health advice or talking about the way someone looks in a way to sort of drive people to do something with their own health if they are not a healthcare provider. I think that's a big problem. It's a big problem when people do that. That's my personal stance on it. But let's watch this video. We're going to react to this and I'll chime in if I feel the need to, as usual. You guys know, you know how I do. Here we go. Let's do it.
Hello all. This video is going to be a little side from, I guess, the usual videos, but it does, for people that follow me, you hear some of the things even I say on stream and I guess in videos as well about, you know, talk about physical fitness a lot, talk about all that good stuff. And there was a video that...
Okay, I want to point this out there before we get into this. I don't have an issue with people sharing their own journeys. Like, if you're on a journey for weight loss and you want to share that, if you're on a journey to go to the gym and that's your thing, you want to do gym videos, you want to do your own personal workout videos and share that from your perspective, I don't have an issue with that. If somebody is doing that, that is absolutely fine, because that's you talking about from your perspective. Or if you're somebody in the healthcare field, whether that includes physical fitness or not, I think that's fine as well. So I don't have an issue with that. I'm talking specifically about body shaming, fat shaming, and unsolicited advice from people who are not in the healthcare field.
It popped up on my Twitter, let's just say that, and I'm gonna blow it up real quick, and it just really shows why it is so important. I'm gonna pause it a little bit before we keep watching it. Trust me, the baby's gonna be all right. But why it's so important to take care of your body and why physical fitness I feel is so important.
Okay, before we even go any further, how do we know that this person isn't doing that? How do we know that she is not already actively doing that? Maybe she's in the process of doing that. Maybe she's been going to the gym the last 2 months. Maybe she's in physical therapy. I've read articles about this clip and we don't know a lot about this person. So this entire video so far, at least from what I can tell, is him speculating about the health of the person in the video based on just what they look like. Maybe I'm wrong. We're going to watch the rest of the video. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like he's speculating on the health of this person based on just what they look like in the video. And I'm going to explain to you why that you shouldn't do that. That's pretty fucked up.
Unfortunately, with the rise of one of my biggest gripes with, I guess, the rise of fitness, is it's a gift and a curse, because you have people now more than ever paying more attention to their health. However, you have a hyper emphasis on things like bodybuilding and looking aesthetically pleasing, as opposed to being mobile, as opposed to being functional. in
What does this have to do with like, you don't know anything about her? What is this hypothetical conversation?
Your sort of training. But with what we see here is, it was this woman who got out of her car, had the stroller. I guess it had no wheel locks on the stroller, and it just kept going. And
okay, so I've read a couple stories on this. I just want to chime in on this. I've read, because it seems like there's not a lot out there, but a couple different outlets said that she made the statement, I think, that she thought the wheel lock was on and it wasn't, which is still a mistake, but that was apparently what caused this to happen, or is that the wheel lock just wasn't properly locked.
And you saw she tried to run after it, just did not have the mobility to get up and or just to go and get her feet under her, because obviously you can tell she's not accustomed to it at all.
Okay, look. This could happen to anybody. This could literally happen to anybody. And I know this because there are people who are extremely athletic, who have injuries from very minor things, right? I'm not saying that she's an athlete because we don't know. We have no clue. But I will say that falling down, because also another bit of information that came out about this video was that the first initial fall did actually hurt her knee. I believe some reports were saying that from at the very least that you could visibly see that her knee was bleeding. So she did hurt her knee when she fell down. But the actual initial trip, anybody can trip and fall. Anyone can do that. The only correlation you have is to me, or to you, I guess, she looks unfit. So that is why she fell. No, people that are fit fall down all the time. And this is a slope and it's windy. Okay, let's go on.
And she just couldn't get up. Thankfully, it was a man here who was able to run to it, older man as well. This guy clearly is someone that is running around and was able to.
What does that mean? How do you know that? How do you know that he is quote unquote running around or physically fit? He was just able to get to the stroller. Again, in the reports, he was sitting right in front of this car and saw the stroller moving. He was outside, I believe, with his sister. He was with someone outside of this building, and he was right in front of the car. He saw it happening, and he ran over to save the baby, stop the stroller. You know nothing about his physical health.
Get the stroller, baby's gonna be fine and all. But I saw that and I was like, man, this is one of the most, it's a small yet prime example, is the point that I made on the Twitter of why you.
By the way, he's got a Twitter post over here. It's right here. We'll read it after this. We're not going to read the whole thing. I'll read his initial comment.
You should take your physical health very seriously.
By the way, we don't know if she doesn't. We don't know. It's so wrong to judge people on their physical health based on, looking at them, even across a room. We can barely see the woman in this video. We get it's a 30-second clip.
It's not just for yourself. If not for yourself, do it for your children, do it for your grandchildren.
Oh yeah, for the children. If you want to get healthy, if you want to get physically fit, you need to do it for you. Period. That's it. Do it for yourself.
Because as you get, older, the old saying is, you lose. If you don't use it, you lose it.
Future Eric chiming in here. I just want to point out that phrase, if you don't use it, you lose it, is actually a misnomer. It has been proven wrong, and it kind of defeats Eric's entire argument about getting healthy and be athletic. If you believe that if you don't use something, you lose it, then that means at a certain point, you can't do it anymore, and all of this advice or shaming doesn't even matter. The woman in this video is in her 60s, so if he's preaching for her to get in good shape and to be healthy, but then he's also suggesting that if you don't use it, you lose it, then he is actively talking against his own talking points. It doesn't make any sense.
And being mobile, being stronger, being agile, you never know when the time may come where you can save your life, you can save someone else's life by being physically capable and physically fit. So I say that stuff, it's in jest, but obviously I take my physical health very seriously.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I'm happy for you. And I mean that genuinely. If you care about the way your health is in a way that someone else doesn't, you want to work out every day, you want to go to the gym every day, that's awesome. That's awesome. But you also don't get to basically shame people because they don't take their physical fitness to the same level that you do.
And I want other people to take their health very seriously. I know I joke with my detractors and I call them fat and doing stuff like.
Right. Those jokes are bullying and fat shaming. And we're going to dive into that in a second on why you should not do that with people that you don't know. You shouldn't do it to people you know anyway, but you definitely shouldn't do it to people that you don't know.
That, and you know, the reason why I hyper focus on that, because I think it does say a lot about you as an individual that you would even, for one, allow yourself to get in that position to.
By the way, I also want to point out that people being overweight, he doesn't care about this. So I don't even know why I'm saying it, but people who are overweight it isn't always tied to them just being lazy, right? There's this concept that someone being overweight is just being lazy. That is such a surface level, unintelligent way to look at it. There's a lot of different reasons that I know of in my own personal life why people have issues with weight. And I think there's a broader picture. If you talk to actual people that deal with eating disorders and things like that, there are other reasons why people could be overweight that isn't just like, I want to be lazy. Which is why you should never shame someone for their weight or even make comments about it unless they ask you.
Where you can't move, right? It says a lot of, because, you know, working out in itself is a discipline. It does require a lot of that. It requires sticking to some sort of setting a goal, sticking to it. And if you were like,
and by the way, like these programs and people who are into like physical fitness and whatnot, they're mostly targeted towards people with issues that feel like they need to be valued by people like Eric who look down on them. And they get wrapped up in a lot of healthcare scams. There's a lot of healthcare scams out there. It's probably one of the biggest that I've ever seen that has been around for a really long time. And I've actually got a website with information that sort of backs that up.
Let's say losing weight, or you're trying to get more physically fit, and when you're trying to maintain your eating habits on up and down, you have to take that stuff very seriously. So
see, this comes from a place of privilege, right? It's a very privileged stance to go, all you have to do is be disciplined, right? That's all you have to do. To me, that's a very military way of looking at it, right? Like, if I just keep saying this to them, if I keep pushing this into their head, if I keep like giving them negative reinforcement, they're gonna change. It's a discipline. You have to do it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. This is the problem. Like, if people believe that mental health is an issue in this country, and I find this a lot with the people who bully people, if you believe that mental health is a problem, that you think that it contributes to a lot of the problems we have in this country, don't contribute to mental health problems by bullying people, because that is a form of mental health. Like, it gives people PTSD and all kinds of other issues. And I have something to back that up. We'll talk about that in a second. Okay, future Eric back again. I just want to point out that if making fun of people for being overweight, calling them names, calling them fat, just generally making fun of them for how they look, if that actually worked, we would have no overweight people in the world. But guess what? It doesn't work. It doesn't work. And even if somebody does happen to lose a little bit of weight because you called them names, they're just picking up another bit of like trauma with that has now gone from a physical trauma to an emotional trauma or a psychological trauma. They just trade one for the other.
I commend anybody, even if, you know, it's not my style of working out. I commend anybody that sticks to some sort of plan and betters themselves and their body because of it. And I want you to do that. No matter who it is that you are, we know in America, the weight issues, overweight issues, hypertension, all these sort of issues that plague, unfortunately, this country. Yes, it does.
So you acknowledge that weight loss causes issues, but you're not acknowledging that there are other issues that cause weight loss. And again, I will say this, do not give people health advice if you are not someone in healthcare. If they don't ask for it, don't give it to them. It's that simple.
Stem from your diet, but also just the sheer amount of people that don't move is up there, right? And I guess a lot of how we've now sort of grown as a culture, you know, a lot of the life that we live now has become so accustomed to that style of living where you just don't move. You're sitting in a chair all day. You know, with this new, everybody's remote now, doing things at the comfort of their own homes, not even being encouraged to at least just move around a little bit. And yeah, the poor stuff that's in the food is certainly a part of it, but you know, yeah, diet.
Yeah. Most of the healthier food is sometimes double or triple the cost of the cheaper options. right? Someone that I know right now is on a keto diet. They're doing keto, and everything keto costs, you get a smaller amount at a much higher cost. This country at a top level wants people to pay more money to be healthy. Like being able to go to the gym, that's expensive. And yes, there are cheap alternatives to that, obviously, but for people that need it, like the people who are severely overweight for whatever reason, they need more than just the ability to get out and run. Okay. And this is coming from someone who has been larger. I've been bigger in my life. And I can tell you that it's not always easy to do that.
It's big, but man, just the inability of some people to just be able to move because they don't do it or want to do it. It does the part that's.
What's the percentage of that though? Because I've seen you share that video and you've been talking for a couple of minutes now, and I'm going to actually share my claims with some information here in a second. Where are your where are your websites? Where are you going to any healthcare websites, any websites about mental health, physical health, any doctor websites, or is this all just stuff you're saying? I mean, we're 4 minutes and 30 seconds into a 6-minute video, and I've not seen you provide one single screenshot of anything that backs up your claims.
Sucks about working out is that it's going to hurt. You know what I mean? Definitely if you haven't done it in a long time, but nobody ever regrets being in shape. Another saying.
Proof? Do you have any? I can tell you right now, I know a lot of people who don't necessarily like to be super ripped, right? They're absolutely happier just being like a dad bod, you could say, right? That's anecdotally for me. I'm not going to say most people, or give some arbitrary percentage or whatever. I'm not going to do that because obviously that information I don't have right here. But you do this quite often, Eric. You do this where you say stuff and you do not provide the receipts. A lot of the criticism that you get from people like myself is because you just say stuff and you do not provide receipts. And you're fully capable of doing it. You have a very nice setup. You're fully capable of pulling up a screenshot or something like that saying, this is where I'm getting this from. You don't do that though. If you did that, there would be a lot less pushback on some of these claims that you have if you had something to back it up.
You know, but certainly when the time comes and you're out of it, you're going to wish that you were. So if nothing else, you learn from that. It's just basic day-to-day stuff, moving around with your children. You know, as you age, you move around with.
But you don't know that this woman doesn't do that. She was literally with the baby. She was outside of her house with a baby. She was the great aunt. She was out. She was out being active. She wasn't sitting at home being lazy. You didn't see her in front of like 3 large pizzas or anything like that. She was out.
Your grandchildren, be able to play with them, being able to do just stuff.
She was out with her. She was a great aunt. She was out with the kid.
So like what I do, you know, having some sort of level of competition that you may want to be striving for. If it's
not everybody's competitive,
even against
not everybody's
yourself.
Competitive, Eric.
Yeah, that can be a way that you can motivate yourself to work out, but it's not just about that. It's not about that. It's not about looking aesthetically pleasing or anything. You could save your own life. Just by.
Okay, so if it's not about looking aesthetically pleasing, then why are so many people in your position that make these kinds of comments also bullying people for being fat? If it's not about being aesthetically pleasing, then why is it so common that happens? Why is it so common that people comment on the way other people look, giving unsolicited opinions about physical appearances? Why is that so common if it's not about being aesthetically pleasing?
Being physically fit. So if you learn nothing else from this video, get up off of your ass.
Oh, it's an ad. It's an ad. Okay. All right. So here was this tweet here. We're not going to go through all of this, but he goes back and forth here. He goes, small yet prime example why you should take physical fitness seriously. It's simply not looking good aesthetically. You never know when you'll need to be mobile, agile, strong. If not for yourself, do it for your children, grandchildren. So that, to me, is pretty much the very tiny condensed statement that this whole video was about. I don't understand. Okay. And then here is, feels like there's more than just being out of shape. Also, for the record, she is not aesthetically pleasing. Okay, whatever. Being out of shape is certainly the bulk of this. When she fell first place, she couldn't get her legs under her. Certainly helps, but I'm all evergreen. Time is defeated. The guy ran to the stroller, was an older guy. If this is true, but he also didn't trip. She tripped because she was immobile. False! You don't know that. You don't know that is what caused her to trip. That is the story that you're painting. You're painting this story. You are for once being extremely creative and painting this story, right? About her falling because of the way she is physically. It's just not true. Look, let me, before we move on to my receipts here, because we're already like 20 minutes into this video. I have known people in my life who are disabled and not obviously disabled. What I mean by that is they have the placard in their cars. They are, by all accounts, medically disabled. One of them is someone who is in their 60s, similar to the woman in this video who's in her 60s, who had 12 back surgeries over the course of 20 years and could not bend more than maybe like this. That was their amount of mobility, right? Because of that, even with physical fitness twice a week, they were still over their weight because they were just physically unable, because of all their surgeries, to do the amount of work that it took. They were still working a job. They were still walking every day, but because of having that much surgery done to them and their age, they were unable to get down to the kind of weight that would be considered a physically, acceptable size. And if you did not know that they had these surgeries, you would not know they were disabled. Why am I telling you this? Because we don't know if this woman has had anything like that. She could have like a hip replacement. She could have some sort of like issue with her back or her neck, or any of those things could be a factor. And we don't know. So immediately jumping onto her to use her as an example is opportunistic. It's extremely opportunistic because we don't know anything about her health, which is exactly why I'm like, we probably shouldn't talk about people's health when we don't know it, when we're not their doctor, their healthcare provider, somebody in a hospital, their physical fitness person, their therapy, their therapist or whatever. We should not be talking about those things. I get so frustrated, almost more so than I do with the other kind of grifting behavior of these channels, when we start talking about people's physicality, because actually that was probably the first thing that got me on the internet to begin with, was when I was doing my own weight loss journey and I had to deal with that kind of stuff. So I'm very passionate about that. All right, let's move on here. Here was the article where they talk about more detail about this situation. There's several articles like this. Some of them have more information than others. All right. So this is from the FTC, the truth behind weight loss ads. This is a very long article. We're not going to go through the whole thing, but basically it points out that weight loss ads and weight loss pills and all of these other things that they offer to people is a huge, huge problem. It's a huge problem because they try to trick people into like, oh, just do this, do that, take this product, take that product. And people that feel like they're being bullied, people that feel like, they can't work out at the level of everybody else, turn to things like this. These bad things for them to try and get to the weight they need to be because they're so worried about what people think about them. It's a huge scam in this country. Weight loss and weight loss pills, weight loss, foods and things like that come from a lot of these companies, they're huge scams. There's so many of them. This is from the FTC website. Okay. Here we go. How obesity and bullying are connected. It's a very big problem here. This article goes into a lot of details about it. They talk about the fact that a lot of times victims of bullying become bullies themselves because bullies with excessive weight are often emotionally conflicted, exhibiting aggression on one hand while fighting feelings of inadequacy on the other. Obesity as a cause and effect. This is perhaps the best illustrated in the Italian study, which found that children with severe obesity were twice as likely to be bully victims than normal weight kids, and the normal weight kids were 4 times more likely to be bullies than severely obese ones. This suggests that aggression, at least in kids with obesity, is cause and effect of bullying behaviors. And then it talks about how to break the cycle on it. This is from Very Well. Then over here we have the National Library of Medicine, which has a great article. By the way, all these articles will be linked in the description box that talk in detail about studies that have been done that show connections to how bullying contributes to the actual eating disorders. And now over here on the eating disorder website, it talks about things that 4 common problems associated with body image bullying. And by the way, I want to point out, people that bully may not think they're bullying, but if you are giving unsolicited advice and calling people fat and talking about how people look and making people feel bad because of their weight, that is bullying. Because they did not ask you. Therefore, you should not be saying anything. Period. But let's look at what happens when people get bullied. These are studies. Eating disorders. About 65% of people with eating disorders say bullying contributed to the development of their condition. A negative body image will often develop when anyone is a victim of teasing about their weight and looks. So congratulations. Bullying has led these people to having eating disorders and more severe problems with their weight than they had before because you decided to say some negative stuff about them. Poor mental health. Post-traumatic stress disorder. Strained social relationships. Unaliving is caused by this. These are all issues. Again, I'm going to link all this in the description box below. But the point being is that bullying people and trying to give unsolicited health advice to people when you're not a medical professional should not be something we're just normalizing. It happens way too often on YouTube and TikTok. Go do your own research and then speak to your doctors about it. Speak to your healthcare provider. Speak to your physical therapist. Speak to someone who can actually give you real advice. Young Rippa 59 is not a doctor. He is diagnosing the woman in this video based specifically on how she looks, but then he says it's not about being aesthetically pleasing. He's conflating the fact that she tripped to her not being active or immobile. Those two things aren't necessarily connected. I know that's the picture he's trying to paint, but that's not necessarily the case. She actually injured herself when she fell. But no, we can't talk about that because obviously she fell because of the way she looks. And also, Eric spends a lot of time on Twitter being, doing these like sort of self-help statements like be athletic and go work out and all this other stuff. But then on the same side of that, he's calling people fat, and I've seen it. He even admitted to it himself in this video. He says he's just joking, but those jokes lead to problems for people who already have issues with their body weight and eating disorders. So we should not be doing it. We shouldn't be doing it at all. It's just, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. I just want to wrap this up by saying, like, if you have an issue with the way you look, don't let people like this bully you or make you feel like you have to change who you are because they don't approve of it. He is not the person that matters in your life. I know he said, oh, I want you to get healthier. No. Don't even listen to that. People that really genuinely care about you are going to support you and help you without shaming you, without putting you on blast. Or people who actually are in the healthcare field and know what they're doing. That's another thing. The problem of people being overweight in this country has a lot more to do with the cycle this country is in terms of the health, the food they provide and the healthcare options they give for people who need to go out and have access to a gym and things like that. And we don't do it. It's just not a thing. And I wish it was easier. I wish you could go out and buy healthier foods and have access to healthier foods. But that comes with places like, in the cities where there's these like, what do they call them? Food deserts, where there's just nothing there but like dollar stores and grocery stores that don't carry fresh fruits and vegetables and things like that. There are other contributing factors, but sure, we could just sit on the internet and talk about a 30-second clip where a woman stumbles and has a problem getting back up at 60 years old, who clearly is having an issue that it's probably not related to just the way she looks, but maybe that'll fix the problem. Maybe that's what we need. Maybe we need more of these. Maybe we need more videos where we can just shame people for the way they look. Like, it's just fucking stupid.